Today we'll be using Speedokote's 2K Clear over the top of Rustoleum turbo paint to see if it works. Let's get started with this experiment.
I'ma do this thing my way. Let's go. Been grinding hard on it all day. Okay. We work hard, then we all play.
Alright, so before we get started with this video, I did want to tell you guys that this paint job is not going to come out absolutely flawless or perfect. If you were expecting that, I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm working in a makeshift paint booth with cheap equipment, and we're bound to run into some issues. In the video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, we have merchandise for sale, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, that kind of stuff helps support the channel. So if you're interested in that, follow me on Instagram and send me a message. Tell me what size you need or what you want, and I'll hook you up with a link so you can send me the money and I'll get you the merchandise shipped out. So if you guys want to help support the channel and get me better equipment so I can do proper videos for you guys, then definitely consider doing that. Everything I do in these videos, the money comes out of my pocket, so any extra help I get helps a lot. So link will be in the description below, and if you want to donate to the channel just to help the channel, there will be a link below for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this video for you guys. So if you don't remember, in a previous video about a month or two ago, I painted this trunk using Rustoleum turbo paint, the white Rustoleum turbo paint. It's just been sitting out here in the elements since then. Rainwater, the dog peed on it a few times, I saw that happen. It's just been sitting back here. The kids have been playing around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this trunk lid and I'm going to put it in my makeshift paint booth, which is right here. And I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to clear coat half of it using Speedokote's cheap clear coat. And then I'll put some pearl in it so we can see how the 2K Clear applies over the Rustoleum turbo paint. So I'm going to get this in the makeshift paint booth and get to cleaning it up. Right, so here's the makeshift paint booth. If you haven't seen it in other videos, just basically on my back patio. I have a box fan to pull air out, and this is how dirty the trunk is. This is what the Rustoleum turbo paint on it. I'll put a link in the description if you don't remember the video of me painting this with the Rustoleum turbo paint. Now I'm only going to tape half of it off and paint half of it with the clear. So I'm not going to mix up a bunch of clear, but this is the Speedokote clear. It's really, really good stuff. My buddy Marco has a YouTube channel where he uses this stuff all the time. I'll put the link to his channel in the description so you can check out more on Speedokote. And I'll put a link where you can get some Speedokote. This was like $55 or $59 shipped, so it's really cheap and it works really well. As for the 4:1 ratio, we're just going to go to 4 to 1 to 1. We're just going to be doing the 4 to 1 ratio, not the 4 to 1 to 1. So we're not going to be reducing it. So let me explain that real quick. Find the 4 to 1 to 1. We got the 4 to 1 ratio is what we're going to be doing, so we're not going to be reducing it. So we're going to go to the 3 with the clear coat, and then we're going to go to this 3 with the activator. So from this 3 to this 3. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to mix that in, and then I will be adding a small pinch of this white shimmer ghost pearl. This was sent to me by a subscriber, and I've been using it in a lot of my videos. This stuff works really well. You can get it on Amazon. But I'm just going to be putting a small amount of this in so we can see the pearl white over the Rustoleum turbo paint and see how it holds up. But I'm going to clean this up using Windex original formula. This has isopropyl alcohol. You could probably just mix water and isopropyl alcohol together and you'd have the same formula that I'm going to be using. This works really well at removing what wax and grease remover won't remove. So I'm going to clean this whole thing down using some microfibers, then wipe it down with a tack cloth, and then we'll be ready to just lay the clear over it. Using this cheap Harbor Freight gun with a cheap water separator and an air regulator on it. I'm using a cheap 8-gallon air compressor, which is right on the other side, and I'll go show you that real quick. So this is the cheap Harbor Freight air compressor I'm using. I don't recommend using one that's tiny. It's just an 8-gallon. I have a water separator here as well, which will remove as much water before the lines, and then I have that other one that will remove water after the lines. But basically this thing works really well for small panels, like if you have just a trunk lid to do or something like that, or if you're doing your car panel by panel, it works okay. I recommend a 21-gallon or higher. 30-gallon is about optimal for me, but everyone sprays differently, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and get back there and start prepping. So these are my holy jeans. These are my work jeans. People have always asked me why I have holes in my jeans, because I work in them. I don't want to ruin my nice jeans, so that's why I'm wearing these. This isn't a fashion statement. These are just from working in them. But I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down. Alright, so I wiped it down. It's looking a lot better. Now I want to show you there's not a ton of orange peel in here to begin with this Rustoleum turbo paint. Painted in the right conditions, it does pay down really well. But I'm going to go ahead and tape this off, paint this section here with the Speedokote clear and the pearl in it. I'm going to wet sand this. I wasn't originally, but I'm going to go ahead and lightly wet sand with 800 grit just to kind of smooth it out a little bit, and we'll see how it lays down over this Rustoleum turbo paint. See, this is a little more duller, but it looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and tape it off, and then we're going to go mix this paint up. Alright, so now we're going to mix the clear, and in case you skipped the video before, we're going to go 4:1 ratio. I'm basically just going to fill it up to the 3 with the clear, and then this 3 right here will be the activator, which I'm using medium clear activator from Speedokote with Speedokote clear. Make sure to get a proper mixing cup. This one right here was actually from Walmart, and I tested it, and it is actually a decent mixing cup. The mixing cup I got from O'Reilly's was off a little bit, so I went with the Walmart one. It's like $1, so it works pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up, add just a pinch of that pearl shimmer in it so we can put the pearl over the white and see how it looks. I'm literally just grabbing a small pinch of it, putting it in. You'll want to wear a respirator or a face mask so you don't breathe in those pearl flakes, but you'll go ahead and mix it up just using this wooden mixing stick. Alright, so I went to this 2 with the clear, and then up to this 2 with the medium activator. So I mixed in the pearl. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and spray it onto the panel now. Alright, so when you're spraying, you'll want to squeeze the trigger lightly here to let air out without letting paint out, and then press harder, and then start sweeping motion. Don't let off until you're past the tape, and then reset and do it again. Now, it works really well that way, especially with pearls. You don't want to stop mid-panel, or there'll be lines of pearl where it restarts. So just make sure to start off the panel, follow through, let go. Same thing over and over until it's covered. Alright, now we did get some issues. Right here, it dripped out of the gun. This isn't the first time I've had this issue with these cheap Harbor Freight spray guns. They end up leaking. Right there, as you can see, it's kind of wet. They end up leaking under that rubber seal. No matter how much I clean it, after the first or second use of these guns, they end up leaking from there. I wanted to show you guys these flaws so that you don't make the same mistakes I do. This is just a junk panel, so it's not a big deal for me, but if you were doing a paint job, you'd probably be pretty pissed. If you want it to look like a really nice paint job, you'd probably be pretty pissed at this, which I'm not too worried about it. Now there's this issue too. We've got a metallic sag here. This is from the pearl. If you go too heavy on the paint, it will run. This big old sag right here is a fine example of what not to do. What you'll want to do is have this on as flat of a surface as possible. As you can see, it's definitely not flat. It's sitting at an angle, which means gravity's going to pull it down. Now, I laid it on pretty thick after this messed up, so I could show you what not to do, because I figured this was a perfect example. It's already screwed up. But yeah, these cheap Harbor Freight guns, they work pretty good for the most part, but this is the issue that they have, is with the leaking. I even have a gun in the package still from Harbor Freight right there, just in case this kind of crap happens again, which it did. So now I'm going to have to start using that gun. I'm just probably going to invest in a really nice gun. I think it's about time for that. As for the Speedokote clear, it did lay over the Rustoleum turbo paint pretty well. minus the screw ups from the gun. And these little specks you see, these little pits right there, that's from water spraying out, so my water separator probably needs drained. This is also a fine example of why you need a water separator. If I didn't have a water separator at all, those little holes would be everywhere right now. But because of the sagging and then the drip spots from the gun, this paint job is basically trashed, and I'd have to sand it and start all over. But I'm still going to let it dry and see what it looks like with the pearl laid over the top of it. Alright, it's been 5 hours since I painted this. It's nice and dry to the touch. Sorry about the tarps, guys. The wind's blowing really hard out there, so they're constantly going back and forth, fighting. My makeshift paint booth isn't perfect, but it works for now. We had a big thunderstorm, so wind's going crazy out there. But as for this paint, it did lay down over the Rustoleum turbo paint pretty good. Other than the runs and sags, obviously that's just horrible. Now if this hadn't dripped out of the gun here and out of the gun here, I wouldn't have coated this so thick, but I coated it really thick to show you guys what happens when you put it on too thick. And this is definitely what happens, guys. Now there are other contributing factors as to why it ran and had so much issues. It's 55 degrees currently right now outside. That's not exactly an optimal temperature, but you can paint in that temperature, no problem. Just don't lay the coats on as thick. Give about 10 to 15 minutes between each coat, and it should come out perfectly fine. I like to keep my coats really wet and thick, which isn't a problem unless you don't know how to coat it thick without getting runs and sags. I did this on purpose after I dripped right there and over here with the gun. After those drips hit there, I basically just said, screw it, I'm gonna lay these coats on really thick so you guys can see what happens if you lay the coats too thick. And that's exactly what happens. It starts sagging and running really easy. Now, keeping it on a flat level surface would have helped the sags and runs, but it still would have done it on these areas when you went to paint if you laid it on too thick. So I just wanted to show you and demonstrate that while I did all this other stuff. Now, as you can see, the non-clear coated Rustoleum turbo paint doesn't look bad, but once you get over into the clear coated side, it's much shinier, and that's with it dry. Now, if we were to wet sand this down and buff it out, it would have a really nice gloss finish. But obviously with the sags in it, it just needs completely redone because there is pearl in here. Now, if this was just normal clear coat, we could sand these down and then buff it out and it'd look really good. But I'm going to show you the pearl up close so you can see what it looks like with the light on it. Okay, here's what the pearl looks like over the Rustoleum turbo paint. It actually looks pretty decent. Alright, now I did get some crap in the paint job down here, besides that drip there from the gun. This dirt and stuff right here is from the ceiling fan. When I went to turn the light on, I accidentally hit the wrong one and the ceiling fan turned on. So if I hadn't done that, there wouldn't be that junk in the paint. But otherwise, it turned out pretty good. Now, if I hadn't put it on thick so you could see what it would turn out like, it would actually be pretty decent. It would just have the two little drips from the spray gun. I'll be getting a better spray gun because this cheap Harbor Freight one's not that great. I used them for years and I've constantly had issues with them leaking. So I'll probably be buying a little bit better Harbor Freight gun because they actually do sell pretty decent ones there at Harbor Freight. So I'll probably be buying that when I can afford it. Right now I can't afford it. I'm trying to get as many videos out for you guys as I can. It's been kind of hard with what's going on with my family, and my son's having issues, and yeah, basically he's in the hospital right now. I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah, so I'm trying to get as much done as I can. Now, this wasn't a complete failure, but if I was to paint a car and it turned out like this, I'd be pretty mad. But this is just a test panel, so it's not a big deal, and I figured I could show you how to not get this. Now, I'm no pro at getting runs out. I'll never claim to be, guys. But you can Bondo over these areas and sand it down with 1000 grit until the Bondo's gone and until the run's gone. And the run will come right out. It's a really cool way to get the runs out. I forgot to mention that in one of my other videos. But overall, you can definitely put Speedokote's 2K Clear or just Speedokote Clear Coat. That was like $59 or something like that on eBay or Amazon. Can't remember. I'll find a link, put it below for you guys. But I hope you guys liked the tips I gave today. Learn from my mistake. The cheap Harbor Freight guns, if you're going to use them, like wrap a rag underneath them or something so it doesn't drip onto the paint. I know you shouldn't have to do that, but if you're going to use a Harbor Freight gun, just make sure it doesn't leak, and it'll turn out really nice. I hate the fact that I had to ruin this clear coat, because I wanted it to come out really nice, but it is what it is, guys. But that's the risk we go with buying cheap stuff. But as I say, no risk, no reward. I'm going to get off here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's not a perfect paint job. I'm sorry about that. If you liked the video and thought it was informative, definitely hit the like button, drop a comment below. I'm going to have a really cool video coming out soon. A lot of you guys probably won't like it, but at the same time, you probably will because it's content. So stay tuned for that. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. Check out my other videos and check out the links in the description. So see you guys in the next video. Until then, God bless.